Ma, mama, go. Ma, let's go. Ma, mama, let's go. Ma. Peace and love, y'all. Well, this is Friday morning, and I'm on my way in, and I thought I should talk a little bit on my way in this morning. I want to talk about something that Elder Winnepican spoke about last night. When I started doing my genealogy, I was under the impression that I have a great grandfather whom I grew up in the house with, who was, because he appeared to be of another culture, and specifically what we would have thought of as Indian. I thought that it was his family line that was going to lead me into my Indian heritage. But my great grandmother, his wife, Ludella, born L.D., that's right, letters, L.D. Ellis, 1907. It was her father, Pink, whose parents I find his mother, born in Choctaw Nation, and possibly having an obvious connection with the Choctaw Nation. And so my great grandfather, although he may, and more than likely, is going to be part Chickasaw, I find his line being mixed European, obviously, and connecting with the European or colonizing family, which was, that was kind of painful for me as I began my genealogy, because I never thought about being able to connect with the European or colonizing or immigrant. Okay, so that sent me for that threw me a loop. That really kind of made me have to rethink things. My grandmother was darker in skin complexion, and I had no idea. And before then, I just never thought about Indians being people who were dark in skin complexion and that they could have coarse hair as well. And so that was the beginning of my search into the fact that the Indians were people of color, and I mean people of color. And so now I've been dedicating my YouTube to search further than the picture that we see of the so-called Indian, the American, the original American, going beyond the surface view of the original American and finding written, literal written information that describes those people. And sometimes I might just find other pictures that represent what people must have saw. But the point here that I'm going to speak to is that we can't take the position that the original American was slighted, his ethnicity and his heritage, and that the people who may be on reservations today stole it because they are not all what you would call white people. They also more than likely have some American heritage. Not only that, they have been given the torch of keeping the culture. So I feel just as bad about what happened to them as I do for what happened to us on this side. Our grandparents, some of them elected to and decided, I'm going to stay out here. I'm going to take my chances out here. Some elected not to go and apply to go into those on those lists, on those Dawes lists, and some elected to go on the Dawes list. But by choice, they made these decisions in many cases. And so I'm supposed to treat my cousins indifferent. I'm supposed to treat them negatively because someone made a choice to stay and assimilate, because they still were assimilating, because you have the people that we so-called have found as $5 Indians, and though that may be a fact, did those $5 Indians, were they, some of them mixed with the original American? Did they continue to mix with the Americans that went on the reservations? The life of the Indian on the reservation included a lot of suffering as well. And perhaps some of that needs to be also considered, and it should. Everything should be considered. But what we should be focusing on, as in my opinion, is to come together and find remedies for our reuniting. That's what we should be doing. Now, if you have these people who are on these reservations and who have been taught over the years that 90-something% of the people they come from were killed off, died, etc., then you may have a people who don't realize that they are our cousins. That needs to be considered. Anyway, I'm going to continue with my mission. I'm going to stick to trying to bring information in a way that the children can look at it. You know, I am trying to do it in a way that is not as emotional, that does not that I'm not using language that might be offensive or to the children. So that's not to say I don't understand it, because I have to be very careful and try to stay in a place of calmness, not to get in a way that I'm cussing and fussing too, because a lot of passion is going along with this search and in this journey. And many times I have to shut it down before I can start it up, because I'm too emotional, I'm too disturbed by what I'm looking at. But peace and love, y'all. I hope this reaches someone.